In the iteration you see right now, it started with the Grant family, and the two sons, Jeremy and Jordan, had a vision for this old mill, and it became a passion project in the end, because it really takes a lot of passion to see something through to this point. And all this preservation, all this restoration that you see around you, it would not happen, if it were a commercial project. It would only happen if somebody had a vision who saw this fitting into the community and being a draw for the region. Not too long, right? It really came to fruition around 2007, I believe. And it started with one tenant, a carpenter. And this sort of happened in two phases. There's two buildings that's attached as one. And you can see from the outside how the stonework changes to define one building from the other. We're in the original part right here, but the add-on was the first part that was renovated, and it held a carpentry shop. And so that was the first tenant that approached Jeremy Grant and said, it'd be really great if we had some sort of crafts going on in here and make this sort of like a craft hub. And it took off from there. The carpenter's not here anymore, but now it houses 20 to 25 artists, some of them sharing studios. And most of them are in their studios on a daily basis, if not on a weekly basis. We also have three shops. We have the Noodle Gallery, we have Gemma Jewelers, and we also have Rare Threads, which is a bespoke custom clothing store. Don't get me started about that, because with bespoke clothing, it's all different sizing, but it all comes together because it's beautiful, one-of-a-kind fashion. We also have a cafe, and then later on we're going to also be building out a restaurant. So for where we are right now in the turbine room, this was a project that was in collaboration with the region of Peel. They printed up all these information cards for us and everything, and it was really helpful to help with the preservation process by having that kind of support from the region. And now, we often come in here and find kids turning levers and doing things like that, and that's fine now. But back when we first started, we came in once and one of the levers had been turned on. It hadn't been seized the way, made so it wouldn't turn, and this place was flooding with water. So the kids can play with this stuff now, but we make sure that it's all tamper-proof. We just started on the Phase 3 project, so we're expanding some of our parking, and that is to support a restaurant that we're putting in on the west side of the building, overlooking the pond. We've got charging stations that we're putting in, so for EV cars, we've got 5 of them going in before the end of this year. We've got some construction going on outside to support the restaurant because we need an expanded septic system. And then we've also got some acoustical engineering that we're also undertaking too, because we're in the middle of a residential zone and we want to make sure that we keep the neighbors happy.
So I've been here going into my 12th year here now, and I actually moved to this area about 12 years ago. And I was I'd been a commercial artist most of my working life, and I wanted to start giving back in a different way and working with other people and having my art reach people in a different way. So I sort of, along with teaching traditional painting and drawing, because that's my background in illustration, I wanted to help people learn more about themselves through creativity. I had been on a journey myself through quite a healing journey with my art, and it was a way to recover and also find out more about myself. So that's what I wanted to help others do. Okay, so my name is CJ Shelton, and I'm an artist, a facilitator, and an instructor. And this is my studio, and my studio is called Dancing Moon Designs. Nature is my biggest inspiration, and what I love to explore is the spirit in nature, so the spirit and the light in nature, and then also the spirit within ourselves and how it's reflected in nature. So I explore a lot of different symbolism from different cultures, a lot of nature-based cultures. There's a lot of indigenous and Celtic influence in my art because those are very nature-based. When I found this space, it was wonderful. It's got everything. It's beautiful land, beautiful property here, beautiful heritage building. The spaces are amazing. It's a very unique model. You know, here you get to actually, people get to interact with the artists and talk to us, so it's very hands-on. It's a wonderful community of other artists, and that was something else I was looking for. I didn't want to work out of my own home. I wanted to be in a community with other artists. It's very positive, yeah. It's so different. I freelanced for a long time on my own, and that's quite, you know, that can be very isolating. When you're in a community of other artists, there's sort of a synergy that happens, you know, and you've got others who understand the sort of creative process, so you can share that and get feedback. And so there's such a creative vibe here. When you're working, you're not necessarily working alongside people, but they're around and we interact, and it's like, hey, can you come over and, you know, say, is this tree right? Does this look right? You know, and there's that, you know, that's the kind of collaboration that's really helpful, and it's just such a positive vibe in being in a community where everybody is doing something different. You can visit my website, which is dancingmoondesigns.ca, and that's where I have all my classes and everything listed, and you can see my art. And but most of the time, you'll find me here.
I was in the mill for a couple of years. I always had home studios, and painting in your home, you know, you have the ability to concentrate, but it's very isolating. And you can't confer with other people and get feedback. So after I was here a few years, then I had to leave for caregiving for my parents. So then when that was finished, I thought, well, if I'm moving back to the area, this is the only place I'd want to be, because you know, we're now allowed to be out and amongst others, and it's when you lose that and you get it back, it's so exciting and so fun, and so I'm really happy. I'm really happy to be back. My name's Brenda Loschiavo, and I'm an art teacher. I specifically teach oil because I noticed that there's a lack of oil teachers in the area. And a lot of my students are acrylic or watercolor, and they've always been intimidated by oil, and then they're converted as soon as they start because of the richness of the color, the history, and the ability to work over and over the same painting until you kind of get it right. So most of my students have been with me for quite a while. I do have some beginners starting now that the fall session has started. And they're very excited, and I'm very excited, so that's great. I love the hills. I love this area because of everyone's regard for conserving nature here. Everyone appreciating the beauty of the natural surroundings here. And there are so many artists and musicians and writers, and it's just an area that creative people gravitate to. And I left the area the last 3 years, and then I had an opportunity to move again. And it's like, well, it's just a natural fit to come back to this area, and especially Alton Mill, because there's nothing like it. There's no other artist hub where everyone is such a high caliber artist and very supportive of each other. And they're always trying to think of things for the artists to get involved in, for their own promotion, which is really fantastic. Yeah. I chose the oil for the same reason that the people who come to me choose the oil. I started painting in oil in grade 7, and my dad was a painter, and I used to watch him in the kitchen, you know, doing his thing. And it was just a color a saturated color that attracted me to the oil. And I was exposed to many studios in college, metals and glass, and I just gravitated towards the oil, and then I majored in oil and taught oil. And the history, the art history that I took in college exposed me to a lot of different artists that you don't see in the mainstream, and I was always compared to Georgia O'Keeffe in school. And because I hadn't done much research at all, I was like, who's he? You know, and then I did this huge flower as a graduation exam, and like, yeah, Georgia O'Keeffe. And then I looked her up, and it's like, uh-oh, people think I'm copying that, but it's really natural. And then I had the privilege of going to her house and painting in Ghost Ranch in front of her mountain patternelle. And now I'm so, connected to her that I'm like, maybe I am her, Anyway, so yes, my style, I would say, is impressionistic. I'm trying to get a more expressionistic style where it's not as representational, but then once in a while I'll have a mood where I want to go high realism. So I'm all over the map, whatever pleases me or keeps me entertained, sort of thing, right? Yeah. They can find it on my website. I occasionally show in other galleries, like Dragonfly, but mostly because this is such a well-traveled site, there really isn't a lot of need to show outside of this building. So on my website, brendaloschiavofineart.com,
Well, Noodle Gallery is a gallery that features 3 different areas. We have an artisan market with handmade unique items, as well as furnishings and a fine art section. Yeah, so at Noodle Gallery we tend to have a set sort of artisan market vendors on a regular basis, as well as furnishings from the same furniture makers. And then we have a stable of regular artists that their pieces will change up as they sell and seasonally. As well, we have a featured artist section where we switch up a featured artist every month. So they come in for the month, and they are typically not a regular artist, usually in Noodle, and it's just to provide some exposure to the area that the artist may not have. Well, I mean, a lot of the products and art within it are fairly unique. A lot of the products that you'll find here are one-of-a-kind items that are handmade and thoughtfully crafted. And I think the other thing about Noodle is that we really strive to make it a very warm and welcoming place. We don't want it to be an art gallery that anyone would ever feel intimidated to come into and look around. So anyone who walks in is immediately made to feel at home, and we let them know, ask us any questions, otherwise we leave them alone. There's always music playing. People are invited to hang out on our couch and take in all the beauty of the building and the space. So I think that's pretty much the biggest thing, that we strive to make it a warm, welcoming place. Yeah. Oh, that is a long story, actually, in the sense that we came into the building of the Alton Mill Art Center into one of the upstairs artist studios, and my husband was looking for out-of-the-house office space for his, he's an intellectual property lawyer, and so he was looking for office space, and he had approached the mill about whether or not they ever rented out their studios for professional offices, and they said no, but they were willing to compromise if we were willing to show art. And so that's how it all began. And it was a combo law office art gallery upstairs, and then the opportunity to move down here and open up something bigger and more diverse happened, so we moved, and my husband lost his law office space, but he's happily working at home now. So yeah, that's how it all happened. In all of that, I discovered that I have a talent for an eye for art and for artisan market items, as well as I'm pretty good with connecting with people. So I've been very lucky in the amazing talent that I've been able to connect with. So Magnus is over there, and Magnus is a big, basically Muppet, but he's an Irish Wolfhound cross, and he's pretty much the star of the Alton Mill. When people come in, they really need to pat him and talk to him and hang out with him. He's a very chilled dog, so he just lies here all day, and he doesn't get in the way of people or get in their faces, but he's happy to be patted anytime someone wants to give him some attention. Yeah. Probably, besides the people within it, like we have some great people, all the artists in here, all the crafters, all the retailers are really great people who I enjoy working with. But otherwise, my favorite part about the mill is just the building itself. All the character in here, the beams, the exposed stone walls, the history that is within here. We don't have a lot of buildings in the area that are like this and have been restored in this sort of nature. So that's probably my favorite part about the mill. I'm constantly getting artists telling me, "Oh, Monica, my show looks so great. Thank you so much. The artwork looks so great the way you've hung it." And I always tell them, "Well, thank you, but I have to say that a lot of it is that it's the space it's within. It just looks amazing."
So, hello everybody, I'm Lydia Panart. I'm a fine artist. My work is abstract. I work with acrylics and mixed media. And another of my passions is to teach. So I'm very involved in the community. I offer classes in my studio. I also go to Peel schools, public schools, to coach all the kids from the school to co-create amazing, great-scale artworks. I also offered here in the Alton Mill Art Center because they have it's such a beautiful place in a great location as a destination that it helps me out to continue offering corporate workshops, that are team building workshops, and also family groups to explore acrylics and the space and self-expression. This is an incredible community. I'm originally from Buenos Aires, when we are very social, and I live in Mississauga. Before discovering Alton, my studio was at the Distillery District in Toronto. And this was an amazing change. First of all, because of location. This location you are immersed basically in nature. And that is very inspiring for an artist's point of view. Another thing, as an architect, because apart from being an artist, my first profession was architecture. I loved architecture, I loved building. So this is a heritage building, and the renovation that they did is superb. So I love to be in a space that it's not just the outside, but the inside inspires me. And not just me, inspires, all the students that I attract here. To take classes, to paint together. The community of artists is beautiful. I'm not a loner, so I get inspired by my colleagues. It's lovely to come here and say from hi to share what we are creating, to talk about art or to talk about our new projects. So I feel the collaboration is beautiful and the engagement is amazing. So I'm very grateful for that. If you would like to know more about me, you can find me on Instagram at Lydia Panart. I offer also courses, so you can find about my courses at Panart Courses. I have the Facebook account, so it's the same, Lydia Panart. And of course, I have a website, which is www.lydiapanart.com.
I love color. The canvas gives back. You feel from the canvas. The canvas will tell you what to do when you get in the mood. You get into it's fun. It's good. I love color. I love painting. every painting is, like I always said, my paintings are never finished because you can always improve. You can always grow with the painting. I'm Robert Chisholm, one of the artists at the Alton Mill Art Center. I love the environment. We feed off other artists. It's a great place to work. Been doing it for 7 years. The whole area itself, the Hockley Valley, Orangeville, Caledon, in the hills, this is hidden in the hills. It's beauty. It's got so much to offer. It's just an artist's paradise. That's what it is. You know, you walk the trails, you go see the colors and so forth. We were playing air painting the other day. This is one of my ranges. We just started it. So, yeah, it's just a great area and great community, great artists, and we have fun. On the websites, with the Alton Mill website, I also belong to SOVA. We're a group of 11 artists, and we do shows around the area. We just finished one in Mono. We also do shows in Brampton, Toronto, and so forth. So we are, with the mill, we are recognized, and also through our shows and our group.
Comes together so quickly, and like when that happens in the studio, it's almost like catches my eye, just the way the light is in that moment.
I'm Kayla Jackson. I'm a painter. I paint a lot outside. It's called plein air, so that's French for open air. And I'm from the village of Alton. It's a historical village, and it's inspired a lot of my work. Impressionism is something that some people are familiar with, sort of very soft paintings that capture nature and people in a moment. And I've always been drawn to painting quickly, and I find it very much fun to try to capture a moment like that. It just, the paintings kind of speak of a time and a place more, and memories and nostalgia. And I think that in combination with growing up in this historical town, and when you walk down the streets and you kind of, just the way the shadow is cast through an archway, and you can just sort of feel like there's stories in that. I've just naturally tried lots of different media and techniques, and doing 8 years of art school, like you try a lot of things, but I just keep coming back to the very basic, just painting what's in front of me and bringing out my paint box. It's like an adventure, and I don't know what's going to happen, and it's always really fun when after 2 hours you've got a little memento of that time. And it's led me to capture a lot of this town and surrounding historical villages. And the reason why I think I take so much pride in this town and try to make that, like share that with people and encourage others to be interested in our history and even just the buildings that are still standing, and groups like the Alton Mill Art Center have done an amazing job of finding a new use for the building, so it actually really is preserved for good reason and invested in, because we're in the green belt, which is very close to like the border of Brampton. We're sort of on the north end, but still, like, there isn't a whole lot separating us and urban sprawl, and a lot of people in town even commute to the city. We're not really like a self-sustaining town. It's too small for that. But there is a very real sense of, if we forget about it, it will just disappear. That we live our lives sort of day to day. We get into a routine, and we like routine, and it's good. But you can get kind of lost in that routine, and I think where that sweet spot of my work is that I'm a very optimistic person, and so when I'm painting a falling barn in a field, but it has this emotion, which is what you can get with photography, but even more with painting, because you can really manipulate the elements of the painting. Everybody drives past this barn every day, like twice a day on their drive to work, whatever they do, even if they find their work fulfilling, right? And it's just little reminders of like, this beautiful, innocent thing exists in your day, and maybe that'll break someone out of their routine or inspire their imagination to make their lives better. Yeah, so I'm on Instagram as Kayla Jackson _art, that's where I'm on the most, and I share stories from my studio, and I post a lot of paintings there. I do have a website. It's kaylajackson.ca.
I'm Bree, and I'm the Marketing and Events Sales Coordinator at Alton Mill. So we have a few upcoming exciting events. November 19th and 20th is our winter open house. We're going to have a Christmas market in Headwaters Arts. There's brand new stock going to be coming into Rare Threads of winter clothing, a brand new collection from Gallery Gemma available, and tons of winter market stuff in Noodle Gallery to check out. We are going to have workshops and open studios, so feel free to come by and meet all of the artists and come walk through all of the galleries and get to know the mill. I love Alton Mill because I love art. And if you want to be surrounded by just beautiful people and artful experiences, it's just the perfect place. It's like a hub for everything nature, history, architecture, and visual arts all in one. There's really something for everyone. If you don't like art, there's shopping. If you don't like shopping, there's nature. If you don't like that, there's history. There's seriously something for every age group, families, couples, coming alone. So I just love that there's something for everybody here. If you want to find out more about Alton Mill, you can visit our website, altonmill.ca, or you can visit our Facebook and Instagram pages at Alton Mill. On Instagram, it's at alton.mill. And you can give us a follow and stay up to date with what we're doing here. And have one more event if I can plug it. On January 28th and 29th, we have our Fire and Ice Festival returning, which is a really big draw for us. We're going to have a fire sculpture, ice carving, a snow slide, fun food and drink for everyone, funnel cakes, and seriously something for everybody this weekend. Shinny and pond hockey, family ice skating, and it's just going to be a great weekend to come get out and bust the winter blues.